I used to do lots of things.
I used to do things and I'd say things and Jesus I was evil. Take things and break things and Jesus I was evil.
All right, whatever.
So
You guys know the drill.
yeah, this is the Feckless Musecast. I'm Ben D'Alessio with my co-host Joe Garza.
Hey,
We're gonna talk about a few different things today. It is, well, when you're hearing this, it'll be October. It's technically September 30th, but whatever.
yeah.
So we're gonna do a horror theme podcast. Well, I guess I don't know. I think talking about Congress is also frightening. So we're gonna, start talking about Congress because we did that last episode, but I wanted to do a little more planned.
Yeah.
And we're talking about who the hottest Congress people are.
There's nothing scarier than a hot woman with
than a hot politician.
Yeah.
I'm you can stick to women. I'm doing women and men. But
All right.
yeah. So, and also we're gonna, just talk about some current event stuff too, and let's get into it. So Joe,
Yeah.
do you want to read? So first of all, great list because
Thank you.
have it in the drive, but F for following the the assignment because you didn't list a single current Congress. Oh no, you did one. Your first one, which was very funny, but unless a current Congressperson, you went rogue, which is fine. I'm all for that. But you definitely did follow the politicians, but not Congress. I stuck to Congress, but that's cool, right?
Yeah.
That's totally fine. For instance, Melania Trump, which I'll spoil out. She was a model. She's not in politics. Never was in politics.
She's a first lady.
She was a first. Are first lady politicians? They're not elected.
But like she had that, was it like Be Best or whatever? She had some kind of campaign thing.
They kept her busy. But okay, fine. So why don't you start? 'Cause I think we both have our 1-1s, or mine's actually no. She's not my 1-1, but you can go first.
All right. So my first.
Hold on. Sorry, I don't mean to interject. First thing, this is not an endorsement of any of their politics. I think they're all self-interested reptilians in skin suits.
Yeah.
These are just the ones that we find attractive.
Yeah,
So,
we're just being pigs right now. We're not being pundits.
Yeah, exactly. All right, go ahead, Joe.
All right. So for my number one, I put Kirsten Sinema. She's a senator from Arizona. I put that she's got a hot psychotic librarian thing going on. Plus, she's got a porn star name. I mean, Cinema, like
it's but spelled SINEMA.
Right.
Like it's and I actually, why I found it so funny is because I didn't notice that until you pointed out. But it is, and she's in Arizona, which is probably a big porn state now. I don't know because I know Nevada is, because California has become very expensive for porn, like it is for everything else.
Yep.
But I'm assuming they're going to go to Arizona soon. If not, well, let's pretend that they do.
Yeah, I feel like the San Fernando Valley, which is just north of LA, has always been very porn oriented. But I feel like that's probably like the closest to like the Arizona, like, where it's like, okay, like it has the same climate as Arizona, but much cheaper. So I feel like Arizona would probably be like the next porn.
I know
capital.
The Vegas area is, which makes sense.
Yeah. But also, I mean, like cinema, it's SIN. I mean, like that's like it's a synonym for
holy
fun.
shit! I didn't even think of that either until you pointed out. Like you have amazing. She's fucking up everything if you have a certain ideology. Wait, is her name Kirsten or Kristen?
I always get
Kirsten.
I think it's Kirsten.
Oh, I wrote Kristen. Whatever.
I get those mixed up too because there's like that actress, like that Spider Girl, the Kristen. Is it Kristen Dunst or Kirsten Dunst?
That's Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten. But also, sticking with the porn thing, she spells with a Y, which right away is the slutty girl way to spell Kirsten. Where Kirsten Dunst is K-I, I believe. Kristen or Kirsten Sinema definitely has a Y in it. Yeah, and she definitely's got a psychotic librarian thing going on.
Yeah.
So good 1-1. That's a good first pick. All right, skip Melania Trump because she was a fucking model. Of course. Like, I mean, that too. She was a model. Your third is also one of my favorites. I didn't include her, but go ahead. You can show
Tulsi Gabbard. She's a former Congresswoman from Hawaii.
Yeah, Tulsi's super hot.
Yep.
Not loving her current rhetoric on war and foreign policy. That's okay. She's still my girl.
Yeah.
Big fan of her. Completely, I have some notes here about non-physical attributes that they have, and her just annihilating Kamala Harris on that is porn for me. Like that's pornography for me. So Tulsi, we love you.
Yeah.
Even though don't stop. And I called it, by the way. I'm gonna fucking share this.
Okay.
Tulsi Gabbard. I called this. I tweeted this. I'm gonna find it, and if this happens, she's gonna run for president 2024. Maybe not, but I have 2024, but as a Republican.
Oh, interesting.
I'm calling it. Calling it. It's gonna be her versus Kamala Harris.
Oh,
that's my prediction. I think she's starting to make that switch, because Tulsi has one of the. I don't want to get into politics here. We're completely objectifying these people right now, but. She has one of the highest approval ratings amongst Republicans for a Democrat.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to leave just like Andrew Yang did. Andrew Yang left. He didn't become a Republican, but he left the Democratic Party. I think Tulsi's going to do the same thing. And by 2024, she will run as a Republican.
That's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. She always struck me as being too moderate for the Democrats. And the fact that she's a veteran and
so they can't play the woman race card thing because she's also a minority and minority religion. She's Hindu, minority. She's Hawaiian, right? Or at least part Hawaiian.
Oh, yeah, I think she's part Native.
Racially ambiguous. That plays right now. Racially ambiguous is huge, and a woman. So I think it's going to be her versus Kamala Harris. But anyway, keep going. The next one, again, an easy one, not on my list because not a congresswoman.
Oh, right.
Also super hottie.
Kristi Noem,
right?
Yeah.
Let me look her up.
Governor of South Dakota.
Yeah, super. Again. Well, I'm not gonna get into their policies and everything.
Yeah.
I did like how she didn't do a mask mandate and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, super hot.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, keep going.
Let's see. Nikki Fried. She's Florida commissioner.
You found a Florida commissioner of agriculture. How deep were you getting on this?
Yeah, I was like, it's mostly dudes in Congress, and that's fine if you're attracted to dudes, but my door swings one way.
Okay.
So,
she's all right. Yeah, she's again. So this is all and I didn't because the last episode hasn't come out yet, but I don't want to take it personally when it's that I made the comparison hot teachers. First of all, I have friends who are teachers who are very hot. So you guys are beautiful, but it's more of the comparison. It's a hot teacher doesn't necessarily mean she could be or he could be an 8, 9, a 10 for a teacher, but in the general public, there are a lot of good looking people out there, but in the position that they're in, the position of power and your student, all of that, that's more the comparison I'm making. Right. And so that's what I'm doing for Congress. For Congress, she's definitely, or she's not in Congress or whatever the fuck she is. You found a
she's
commissioner.
She's a farmer or whatever.
All right, fine. No one knows who that is, but keep going.
Okay, then my next one is Hope Hicks. I mean, come on, she's basically a model.
Yeah, and then you start going, all right, Hope Hicks. I know the name, obviously, and I know the next one by, what was she?
She was a political advisor to Trump.
Yeah, she was. Okay, that makes sense. All right, and lastly, easy one everyone knows. She's go ahead.
What's her name? Kate? How do you pronounce Kayleigh?
Kayleigh McEnany.
McEnany,
I believe. Yeah, it's very hot, very Fox News, blonde, pencil skirt, dress, or whatever it is. Actually, I have no idea if she's ever worn one of those, but she looks like the top. Yeah. All right. So I stuck to Congress itself. And so here's what I noticed, actually. I went through every single congressperson.
Teacher's pet.
Yeah. In the Senate, I made the assignment also. In the Senate, not as many hotties. Again, there's if you didn't know this, 50 members of the Senate, 435 members of the House. So obviously there's a big gap there because there's 2 senators for every state, and the House is much different. It's much more local. But the Senate Democrats definitely had the edge, 3-1. And again, there are only 4 hotties that I found. But in the House, Republicans had the edge by about. Now I went through here and I crossed out a few because I was like, all right, I should have looked at some more pictures. But yeah, Republicans, and still when I canceled some, Republicans still had probably 14-12, 13-11 lead. Make that as you will. Make that as you will. So in the Senate, of course, Kristen Sinema, we went over her already. She brought probably the best looking overall is John Ossoff. Very good looking man. He's the new, what do they call like a new senator or congressperson? Not rookie.
Incumbent? No, that's not.
No, that's when they've already won and they're trying to keep the seat. Whatever it is. It's not rookie, but that term. The only Republican I have, Josh Hawley. He's a good-looking guy. Not quite on John Ossoff. Good-looking guy. And then Martin. Oh, so here's my my sleeper pick.
Okay.
This is just Senate, and I'm not going to go through everyone. Or I might. But Martin Heinrich, dark horse, good-looking, very good-looking Democratic senator from New Mexico. So look him up. He's got like kind of.
Oh yeah, all right.
He's got that like salt and pepper hair, gray hair.
Yeah.
Daddy vibes, good looking guy. So I'm gonna go through I'm going through the hot. So I kind of like did Senate's its own thing because there's only 4. I'm gonna go through my top choices for hotties. So I have Doris Matsui, Judy Chu, Grace Meng, Mark Takano, Ted Lieu. Stop me if you've caught on yet. Andy Kim. Young Kim. Okay, that's a joke. Those are all. But actually, I made that joke because my top choice was someone. So why do we bring all this up? Because of course we talked about AOC because we don't like AOC, but she's pretty hot, especially for a congresswoman, and she's very good at marketing herself, even though she's I don't think a very savvy politician. She's good at keeping herself in the conversation, as we showed last episode. So I thought she was going to be the top choice, right? Because everyone knows AOC. Not so fast. Hottest member of the House is without a doubt Stephanie Murphy. Don't get it confused. She's very much Asian, Vietnamese, it says. And she is a Democratic, what's her, no, not the 1st district, that's Gates. 7th district of Florida.
Oh yeah, she's pretty. Yeah,
she's very pretty. So she's my number 1.
Okay.
My number 2 is, hold on, I got all these post-it notes here. My number 2 is, I'll go with Lauren Boebert. Also like Kristen Sinema. So I noticed that there's a lot of like foils, and to me, she's kind of like not really political foil, but totally attractiveness foil. She's like the Republican Kristen Sinema. Like definitely get some craziness vibe. She'll be holding at least a 9mm, if not an AR-15 in bed. I'm definitely that craziness vibe, which I'm here for it.
No, she definitely has that vibe that you see on Twitter where it's like, I'm a hot Republican and I have a gun.
Yeah, she's got like that young, she's got that like young Sarah Palin thing going on. It's like if Sarah Palin, I don't know if she was in politics when she was her age, or I have no idea, but Sarah Palin had more of the mommy thing going on. Lauren Boebert's got like that. I think she tried to bring her gun on the floor of Congress or something. I love it. It's hilarious. We did Stephanie Murphy. Next is going to be Beth Van Dunn. I'm assuming that's her last name. Might be Doyne or something. She is a Republican congresswoman from Texas, 24th district, represent. You needed one blonde Texas congresswoman on there, or like somewhere from the South, Tennessee. So of course she's on there. Attractive. Of course she's my number 3, and then my number 4 was Nancy Mace. I think kind of South Carolina, very brunette. Someone I've never heard of, but she's a Republican, I think.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
Probably Republican from the 1st district of South Carolina. All right, everyone else, I'll run through real quick. Jay Obernolte. It's got that like retired linebacker vibes. He's a you know what, Joe, you'll find this interesting.
What's that?
A lot of the most attractive on here from California, all Republicans. I don't know. A lot of attractive Republicans in California in Congress. So Jay Obernolte's got that like ex-linebacker vibes. A California 8th district. Young Kim, California 39th district, Republican, Asian woman. So on my list. Lauren Bobber, already went. Matt Gaetz, he's got that. I know he's got his issues. Again, not not condoning personal life or politics, but he's got that like frat bro vibe going on.
Yeah.
You know,
he looks a little bit like that actor. He's on Stranger Things. He played the recent Hellboy. What's his name?
Yeah. You know what? I see that. Fuck, what is his name? Stranger Things. Oh, I'm pissed off.
Sheriff guy.
I remember that. I cannot remember names. I'm on this fucking. Of course, he's not in like the main thing.
David Harbour.
Yeah, David Harbour.
Yeah.
David Harbour. Yeah, Hopper. Yes, Matt Gaetz does kind of look like him. He would probably not like that though.
Yeah.
David Harbour is very much the lib. Scott Franklin, a Republican from Florida. David Scott, Democrat, Georgia 13th District. Kai Kaheli, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Democrat from Hawaiian 2nd District. He's kind of got like a Hawaiian Rob Riggle look going on. I noticed and I think he used to be, if he's not, he used to be shredded. Ashley Hinson. Actually, I might have taken her off. Sorry, Ashley. I can't remember. William Huizenga, Republican, Michigan, 2nd District. I went on the squad. So Ilan Omar's next. Very attractive woman, no doubt. And I said that on the last episode. I took Rashida Tlaib off. And she's not doing it for me. So Rashida Tlaib, you got taken off. Ilan Omar, very much a hottie. And I heard that she actually has purple hair. Believe it or not.
Josh, it sounds like her.
Josh Gottheimer. So I have him. He's like the Democrat. So he's from New Jersey. I think he's not the only New Jersey I have on here. He's like a corporate Democrat, and he's kind of like the foil to Matt Gaetz, like that kind of frat bro look to him. Might be a little older. But he definitely has that vibe. Also New Jersey, Mickey Sherrill. I think I brought her up. I might call Nikki last episode. Mickey Sherrill, again, one of these like corporate Democrats. She's not bad. She's good. Put her on there more because of New Jersey. Melanie Sternsberg, New Mexico Democrat, AOC. She didn't crack. I didn't put her in my top 4 or 5, but she's right there. I could probably, there might be some personal bias there.
Yeah.
Richie Torres, New York 15th District Democrat. Madison Cawthorn, very good looking guy. Young. I could see. I feel like he's trying to turn himself into the Republican AOC.
Okay.
North Carolina 11th District.
So really cringy and
pretty. Yeah, he can be pretty cringy. He's said some like own the libs type stuff that when we do it, it's very clever. But when he does it, not so much.
Yeah.
There's not really time and place for it. I forget what it was. I don't know that much about him, but I feel like it's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
I said Nancy Mace. Dusty Johnson. So again, if you look him up, he's got like a Rivers Cuomo type vibe to him that I think like some people will find attractive. Not the conventional attractive, but I could see him. He's got that like nerd but good looking ish vibe.
He looks like a Bill Gates who's been rehydrated.
Yeah, that's probably what it. Yeah.
All right.
Wait, I did this one. Okay, I only got one more. Diane Hirschberger, Tennessee Republican. Dan Crenshaw, who I brought last time. Eye patches just do it for me. Something about it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, wait, did I miss one? No, I didn't. Okay. And I'm sure everyone's ready for this segment to end. But lastly, Abigail Spangenberger, good looking, but she really made my list because she cursed off Nancy Pelosi after the election for swinging too far left. She's kind of in a swing district, kind of centrist Democrat. And that to me is just dirty talk, cursing off Nancy Pelosi. So that does it for me. And,
what's her name again?
Abigail Spangenberger, Virginia 7th District.
Spangenberger, there we go.
Yeah. I don't know if she necessarily cursed off Pelosi, but like she got, it was very attractive. How she's basically like, you fucking idiots. If we ever run on, if we ever run on defund the police again, we're all fucked. Like we should see that, because if you remember, the Democrats were supposed to win a ton, and they did not do well outside of the executive, which obviously they won.
Yeah.
All right. So I hope everyone took notes on that.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to the next. Oh, so Joe.
Yeah.
What does because it's a horror theme? What does the ACLU and our favorite villains from horror like Leatherface, Freddy Krueger, and Jason Voorhees have in common?
As far as I know, they both like to erase women.
They love to erase women. Why is that? Well, I don't know for any of them, but why for the ACLU? And why do we bring that up? Well, the ACLU in there, and again, I still have an ACLU sticker on my laptop. I haven't been able to pick it off yet. I do not condone them, or maybe here and there, but they've completely become just propaganda.
Well, they used to be great. They used to
be fantastic. They used to not that long ago. Well, I was different political mindset there, but my dream job was to work for the ACLU.
Yeah.
And for their old principles and things like that, they've completely just become shills for the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, propaganda. And here's the quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg, again, one that she did not actually say all of these words, and I'm sure you can pick out which ones she did not say, which ones have been edited. Okay, and this is concerning, of course, the abortion laws that were passed in Texas and Mississippi, I believe. The decision whether or not to bear a child is central to a person's life, to their well-being and dignity. When the government controls that decision for people, they are being treated as less than a fully adult human responsible for their own choices. If you picked out words like persons, people, their, and they, then you selected correctly the words that the ACLU edited in this quote. Of course, the word should have been women, hers, she's, woman, women,
yes.
hers. So
basically, the implication is that people can give birth who are not women. Men can bear children.
Right. So I want to do some housekeeping before we get into more of this episode, which is, Joe, so now that we're not allowed to use the W word, which I will be saying from now on, what words are we allowed to use going forward? I've made a list of potential candidates. Would you like to hear them?
Yeah, okay. You did special credit assignment here, huh?
That was me. Always extra credit. Extra credit to Alessio. No, not even kidding. That was my dad. I would be doing not great in class. My dad would be like, go ask for extra credits. Dad, they don't give it out. Go ask, get some extra credit. Right. Like it's a ticket at a deli. All right, I'll have 6 extra credit, please.
Yeah.
So options are vulva possessors. Not bad.
Yep.
Kind of rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Birthing persons. This is a favorite of progressives. Birthing persons.
Yep.
A little clunky, but okay. Menstruators. That's a nightmare for me. I don't know what is my jaw just doesn't. Menstruators. That's not gonna work. Actually, I don't know if that would work. And then I said, what about after menopause?
Yeah.
But then again, I don't think that would be okay. So, okay, we can't do that one. That one's also banned.
Yeah.
Banned. And then I have uterus utilizers, which alliteration, that's my personal favorite. So from now on, we'll be using uterus utilizers to describe women, I think. I actually don't know. I might just confuse myself for what we're allowed and not allowed to do. But go ahead, go
on. There was some major organization that put out some kind of safe sex guide or something like that. I don't know if it was Planned Parenthood or some major organization, but they put out some kind of pamphlet thing, some kind of guide for sex, and they said, let's stop using gendered language for genitals. Sure. And so they call vaginas front holes.
Oh, fuck yeah!
That sounds.
I love it. This is so dystopian to me. This is like, dude, I'm not even fucking kidding. I'm writing a sequel to a dystopian novel. I can't keep up. I honestly can't. It's like whenever I think I'm doing something too extreme, then I hear something like front holes, and it's like, got me beat. I can't get. And my books take place 100 years in the fucking future. Yeah, this is happening right now.
Yeah, that's the light speed momentum of progress. No, but that sounds so crude. That sounds like something like you'd say with like your buddies, like, oh yeah, and then I fucked her in the front hole too, or it just sounds so like.
It does. That's I think that's kind of the point. Is that so much of this again is just horseshoe. It's like it sounds so crass.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be the more, again, in their view, polite thing to say, but you sound like a frat bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your front hole. Well, yeah, and then I fucked her in the back hole. Like, is that,
yeah. And then the face hole. Like,
yeah, the face hole.
But this is like an actual guide for sex, and it was like, okay, because vagina sounds too gendered. I was like, well, yeah, because it is. Like, women have vaginas, men don't have vaginas. And look, this isn't.
Well, pump your brakes. Gotta get to some pretty hot water here. So I hope you're wearing swim trunks.
No, it's fine. And look, this isn't an anti-trans thing. Like, I'm fine if you're trans. Like, that's fine. I'll refer to you by however you want to be referred to as. But yeah,
I think most trans people would say, like, and I don't mean to cut you off, but of course, like, I don't want us to turn to a podcast where we're always hedging. Like, this isn't like, people should know that, right? This isn't any, and I think most, vast majority, even trans people would say, we don't like front hole either.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking crazy. It's just, it's the activist class. It's and then the corporations think that, and the government and the politicians think that is the, correct language, so they adopt it, and that's why you see things like Latinx, which like 98% of Latinos
don't like,
but yet we have fucking 88-year-old Joe Biden saying, is he 88? I don't know. 88-year-old Joe Biden saying it. This old fucking white guy, because he thinks that's like the groovy thing to say. And so that's what it is. So we know we're always ripping on the extremes, the activist classes, the politicians, the corporations, your professors, your siblings, your mom and your dad, and probably you. But that's who we're ripping on. So yes. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's and actually this is relevant though. The whole Latin history, Hispanic History Month, or Heritage History Month, or whatever. I should know because I'm not Mexican, but it's funny. Like, I'm seeing more and more organizations saying like they're amending it now. So it's like, oh, like it's Hispanic and Latinx Heritage Month. It's like Latinx. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, that just became accepted, but it's only accepted in like the mainstream media class. It's not like most people have never heard it or use it or like it.
First of all, that organization is probably run by like a white girl from Burbank named Sally. And then like some pissed off Latinos who went to Stanford and USC and Harvard, and then they, it's like, oh well, they said it, so like we should be saying this. When meanwhile you go to East LA or whatever. I mean, all of LA has a lot of Latino population, but you go to those neighborhoods and you use Latinx, they're like, ¿Cómo? Like, ¿qué? Like, what are you saying? What the fuck is that word? Like, stop. And honestly, what I try and do is attack them from their own side. Like, I will like attack left from the left, right from the right. Sometimes I'll be like, that sounds to me like colonizer language. You're changing you're using your own like Latin, or excuse me, English crazy progressive shit on like their language. And then they'll like clam up and stuff. Like, you see a lot of that, and you're seeing a lot more of this. But my intersectional pretzels, I like to call them, with, now you have Black Lives Matter protesting vaccine mandates, and everyone's like, oh no, we were on their side. Like, now what do we do? It's such a fucking myth that like all these MAGA Trump supporters are in Manhattan protesting. Like, no, if you see these groups, they are diverse. They are probably diverse politically because there aren't that many Republicans in fucking New York City. So, the same thing with LA. And my point being is that, once you dig into these, whether they're gender or race or whatever it is, and you attack them from their own side, they usually clam up. They usually don't know how to respond. And that's one of them. It's like, okay, go say what you're saying about not letting people go to their grocery store because of vaccine mandates. No, go say that in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Or go say that in South Central, where those have some of the highest rates of vaccine hesitancy. Go tell them and see how it works for you. And they don't do it. They think it's all just like people in fucking Arkansas.
And you know who planted the seed for that sort of hypocrisy is Ibram X. Kendi, Mr. Anti-Racism himself.
Yeah.
Because his definition of racism, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and I'm trying to be true to what he said. I'm not making him look bad here. But basically, his definition of racism is any policy or law that produces a racist outcome. And obviously, racism has such a simplistic definition.
Disparate impact outcome.
Right.
Which it's been disparate intent.
Yeah.
Which is what the courts have upheld, not disparate impact. That's why they're trying to make a disparate impact, which is all about fucking equity, which most people can't even fucking differentiate from equality.
Right.
If they knew the difference, they wouldn't be saying the word equity.
Right.
But that is so now they're an intersectional pretzel, because now the disparate impact is on what they use this term, I can't stand black and brown communities, but it's being pushed by the far left, and not even by the far left, by the left, by the Democrats, and they don't know what to do about it. And that's why you don't see a lot of it. You don't see, I follow people on social media across the political spectrum. Some of my best friends are progressives, some are Trump supporters, most are in the middle somewhere, and the left is really quiet about this.
Yes.
They're very quiet about this. They're not picking a side because they're scared.
Yeah.
And that's all I've noticed. With that.
It's a very spooky state of affairs.
Yeah, great segue. Oh, wait, hold on. We have one more non-horror thing to talk about, because this is very personal to me. This is very near and dear to my heart. Because as much as I will give crap to all of these people complaining about representation and disparate impact, when it starts becoming anti-Italian, that is when I step in. And if Joe, have you heard or have you seen the cast for the new live action, not voice, live action Mario movie?
Yes.
Super Mario Brothers or whatever it is.
Yeah, from 93.
Tell me, Joe, how many Italians are in that cast? And don't you dare say fucking John Leguizamo. He's not Italian. He's Puerto Rican.
I know that he's from Colombia.
Colombia, is he Colombian? I think he's mix,
so.
But yeah. Well, he's not Italian.
He's Latinx. Okay.
He's Latinx. Thank you.
So and Bob Hoskins is very Italian.
Yeah. We've got Chris Pratt, Charlie Day. Love them both, but they're pasty whites, not Italians. These are not the Mario brothers. So I want my representation. I want Scaramucci, the guy who was Trump's such and such. Well, he was like the Psaki of Trump, right? For like a week, because Trump fired all of them. And Cuomo. That's who I want. I want Cuomo being Mario. No, Cuomo being Luigi, and Scaramucci being, or whatever his name is.
If the mooch puts on some pounds, I think I could see that.
Yeah. So I think they're erasing Italians. Doesn't matter that this was a Japanese company who made this IP, who made this property in the 80s or whatever. I feel like I'm not being represented, and I demand reparations.
Well, here's the thing. Shut up. Because Mario has a history of he was designed to be culturally appropriated. Like I put here in the notes, it says that even Charles Martinet, the guy who voiced Mario in every video game, he's French. Like, so it's just like,
it doesn't matter.
I know.
Well, we're writing the wrongs of history. No,
right. Okay. I mean, it's
that shows how much I care. I don't give a shit. These are fucking video game characters. I'd love Chris Pratt, Charlie Day. Charlie Day is incredible. I'd love to see him do. I mean, I hope Always Sunny never ends, but I'd like to see him in more movies too. He's incredible. I think he'll be really good as Luigi. I don't know about Chris Pratt as Mario.
So I'm not too thrilled about the cast, and this is all voice cast, because I think it's also Seth Rogen is he playing Donkey Kong?
Oh, I don't know. Probably that makes sense.
Actually,
this movie's probably gonna suck, but whatever.
And then was it Jack Black playing Bowser?
I'm gonna be honest. I gave a very cursory look to this whole thing.
Well, I just want to go through it real quick because I'm not thrilled. I mean, like I like the cast. I just don't care for the cast.
What's it called? Is it Mario? I'm playing Mario.
Super Mario Brothers, the movie. At least that's a tentative thing. So it's in 2000. It's coming out in 2022.
Dennis Hopper's Bowser. Bob Hoss. Wait,
No, I'm talking about the new one, the upcoming.
Oh, yeah. Why'd they show me that one? You fucking idiots. Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Mario. It's good. Let's see. Oh yeah, Anya Taylor. Oh, I just watched a movie with her. She's good, but she's doing the voice. I don't get it. Wait, voice. Why does they say all? Is this not? This isn't live action?
No, it's animated. Yeah.
Oh. Oh fuck. Okay, I guess that makes more sense. Well, they're still erasing my culture.
Yeah.
My jumping down tubes and stealing princesses culture.
Yeah. It's what the Italians are known for.
Oh wait, they got Sebastian Maniscalco, who's like the most Italian guy in America, and he's playing Spike. I don't even know who that character is.
Spike.
Frankie Kong, Fred Armisen, Keegan Michael Key as Toad.
Like I love the cast. Jack Black as Bowser.
Yeah.
Though? Like I don't know.
I
love Jack Black, but again, as Bowser, I don't know.
I just don't know how they're gonna. All right, whatever. I'll probably see it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm glad I got that off my chest. I will expect reparations very soon from Hollywood.
Yes.
Okay, so you think, oh fuck, so we fucked up your segue into spooky movies. But yeah, so it's when you're hearing this, it's October, and I've reserved like every movie on my list. I have like I probably have a 210, 15 movie watch list right now that always goes up and down.
Yeah.
And I purposely, by the time it's like summer, I'm just like, okay, I'll wait for October.
Yeah.
And now I just watch all of them again, and as many as I can, because it's one of my favorite. There's like a theme to this.
Yes.
And it's one of the more fun themes. So, and we're both cinephiles, if you want to use the fun term, movie lovers.
Sexually addicted to movies.
Addicted to movies, yeah. So let's talk horror.
Well, speaking of Anna Taylor-Joy.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a segue right
like
there.
This. Yeah, keep going.
You, I think you watched a movie with her, a horror movie with her.
I did. I watched The Witch.
Yeah, what'd you think of that?
I thought it was very good.
Me too. I like that one.
I thought, I think his name's Einison, or I believe that's the actor's name. I might be botching that. Amazing voice. Like
super deep voice.
All-time voice. In the first scene, he's, making his case in front of some, tribunal. This is the Pilgrim times, Puritan, Massachusetts or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, that voice is. But then I looked him up, and he's not in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he was in The Green Knight recently, which is a great movie.
I haven't seen that yet, but yeah.
He plays the green, the main like villain type character.
Knight.
Yeah.
Right.
And and again, like, because he plays this sort of medieval forest creature, like the voice works incredibly well with the actual, the character that he's playing. The Witch is great. The Witch reminds me. So the first time I watched it, I remember when it came out, I didn't see it in theaters because it was kind of a limited release. And so I didn't get a chance to see it. Yeah. And I was super stoked because it was one of those movies that everybody kept talking about. Oh, you got to see this movie. It's so spooky. It's so unnerving. And when I finally watched it, I think it was overhyped, or at least my expectations were very high. Because when I watched it, I was like, it's cool. It's creepy, but it's kind of slower than I expected. But then I watched it again like a year or two ago, and my appreciation for it went up because, I think my tastes have matured. And so like my interest in genuine like filmmaking and storytelling has more matured. So when I watched it again, I was like, "Ooh, this is a really creepy movie." It like when you really pay attention to it, like it's got a lot to offer.
I think, and so it's very fresh for me, and it was the first time I'd seen it. So I think, and what I do, I write these pocket reviews. I know I've mentioned that, and I always check Rotten Tomatoes first. Yep. Then I go Wikipedia just to have the actors' names and stuff like that. So I checked the Rotten Tomatoes, and this had a 90 for critics, 59 for audience. That's a big gap, and I always notice. And I'm much more on, sometimes I'm with the audience, sometimes I'm more with the critics. So I'm much more with the critics. I think I gave it an 80, 84, I believe. Really, really good. Very good. And I think because, and going off of what you said, I think because I remember hearing about this movie being hyped, and when people hear a lot of hype and it's a horror movie, I think they expect a lot of like body horror, or gore, or gruesomeness. And that's not what The Witch offers. It offers some really the third scene is the most disturbing scene, in my opinion. I don't know if you remember what that is, but the movie's 5 years old. I think we can spoil it, right?
Yeah.
she's basically mashing up a baby into a pig.
Yes. Yep.
The witch, which is like, holy fucking shit. Like, obviously, you know, they show the creepy hand and the knife. The witch stole the baby. And then the next thing, she's like mashing it in like an old like muddler with the big stick or whatever. She's like smearing it on her body.
Yeah.
Very disturbing stuff. But I can see how people went in that thinking it's going to be lots of, like I said, body horror, scary jump scare, stuff like that. And it's really not the case. It's a very disturbing movie in the sense of like psychological, the breakdown of a family.
Yes.
The main plot is basically this family gets banished out of the colony, which at the time is that's a death sentence, basically.
Yeah.
For most people, you have to be extremely resourceful. It's a family of, well, at first, 6. The baby gets stolen.
Yep.
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Excuse me. There's the twins. Baby gets stolen.
Yeah.
And you know, just the breakdown, the finger pointing, eventually accusations of being a witch.
Yeah.
Possession. I thought the single best scene. Oh, and another reason why, and then that goes into what I'm gonna say next. For me, there's always risks. For what I've noticed, I've watched so many movies now. Always risks that can pay off really well or destroy a movie, and one of those is kid actors. Kid actors can ruin a movie, but they can also sometimes they can raise it up. I think some of the best movies I've seen have kid actors in it or central role. Here, it's definitely the latter. The definitely made the movie better. There was not a weak performance.
Yeah.
The best the single best scene was Caleb, who's the son, during his like possession or whatever.
Yeah.
It was excellent. Really well done. I don't know if you remember that exactly.
Oh yeah.
Twins were really good. Of course, and what brings us into this is Taylor Joy. I'm forgetting her first name right now, but she was great as the lead.
Yep.
And I also the father and wife. So Einison and the wife. You know, I could look her up, but they're both in Game of Thrones actually.
Yes.
Einison, I think, a much smaller role. He's one of the Ironborn, and then the wife is.
She plays another character.
Yeah, Tully. Are you not a Game of Thrones fan? Have we not?
I never watched it.
Oh, you never watched it? Holy
I've
shit.
heard of it. It's a show?
Oh, I'm sure you've heard of it. Yeah. Anyway, she plays the woman who breastfeeds her. I should know this because I love Game of Thrones. Tully. I know that's not her married. Lisa Aaron. That's it. Lisa Aaron, who famously has like a 10-year-old suckling on her teat.
Yeah.
But anyway, she's also excellent in it. So I think that's why there are legitimate scares, but I think that it wasn't what people were expecting. So that's why the general audience has it at a 59, which is rotten according to the Rotten Tomatoes
scale.
score.
Yeah.
For me, I look at it as 60. I use the same scale.
Yeah.
Just 0 to 99 or 1 to 99 or whatever. And for me, it's like, can I recommend the movie? 60 or higher. It has to be 60 or higher if you recommend it. 59 or lower if you can't. The Witch is a great one. It was written and directed by Robert Eggers, he's one of those directors. He's one of those directors who I'm like, ooh, I'm going to be watching what he's going to be doing, because he also did another horror film that I love, The Lighthouse, which is not a straight up horror film. Yeah, you would consider that horror?
I think so. It kind of reminds me of The Shining in a way, where it's kind of like you're not quite sure if if the characters are going insane, or if supernatural stuff is going on, or if the supernatural stuff is driving them insane. It kind of blurs the lines. I think
we can do a big tent horror theme, like big tent. I think that's fine. Definitely psychological thriller. I don't know if thriller is the right word, but it's got that. It's just a psychological movie.
Well, one of the things that makes me think that that kind of pushes it a little more into the horror genre is like there's that legend. It's been a while since I've seen it, but there's that part where
it's fucking the mermaid.
no, where Robert Pattinson and who's the other guy's name?
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, yes.
Amazing, great.
Yeah, no, both of them were terrific.
Keep going, but that's a great. You reminded me of something.
Yeah,
and
Willem
now,
Dafoe's character says like it's bad luck to kill a seagull, and then Robert Pattinson's character kills a seagull, And then after that,
annihilates
yeah,
it.
he fucked it up. Yeah. And then after that, all this terrible shit started happening. So it was almost like don't disobey the laws of the sea sort of thing. So it was almost kind of like a weird dark fable in a way. It was almost kind of like a supernatural element to it.
Totally.
But anyway, Robert Eggers wrote and directed that film as well. And so
that's
now
so
it's
funny
like,
that you say that, because I think there's such, I mean, for a different reason, I wanted to make the comparison, and now it's the same. And Eggers also wrote The Witch, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So now I see, because they're both like, that's what they are. They're both fables. They're both folklore, I should say.
Yeah.
The Witch of the Wood is old English Germanic type folklore, and I would think the Lighthouse is more kind of like American style folklore. Very cool. And the comparison I want to make also, so the first thing I said that can really ruin a movie, for me at least, child actors. The other thing is language, dialogue. And what I loved about The Witch and about The Lighthouse, which is funny because I had no idea that Eggers did that. The Lighthouse, is that what I call old timey language, right? I mean, these two movies they're like 300 years apart or something, but still, it's like old timey is the only way for me to put it. It can ruin a movie for a lot of people. Not in the case of these two movies. The Lighthouse is like fucking poetic. Like it's beautiful to listen to. And The Witch also, it's like you get used to the thys and these and thous and all of that, and kind of the where the object goes, and it sounds really nice. It's not a chore. Like you don't want movies. I think that's why so many people are averse to foreign films, which I'm not. Foreign language, I should say. I'm not at all. Best movies I've seen recently in foreign language films, but I could see where that is. It's like, oh, I have to fucking read. Like I don't want to read while I'm watching a movie. So, but that's here. The old timey language is not only not a chore, it heightens the movie. I think. I think it's great.
So I don't know if Robert Eggers did this for The Lighthouse, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I know that for The Witch, he got a lot of the dialogue, or at least inspiration for the dialogue, by reading journal entries from the 1600s or something like that. And because he's such a stickler for authenticity, I'm sure he probably did something similar for The Lighthouse. Like, I'm just going to look up sailors' diaries from the 1800s.
I don't think
use that as for inspiration.
I don't think he would do. I doubt that he would do it for The Witch and not for a movie like The Lighthouse. I'm sure he looked up. It was very authentic, which is cool because that's great to know. Now I will look out for him now. Also, what else has he done? Do you know?
Those are the only two feature-length films that I think he's done. I think he's done a few shorts.
Good track record then.
I know. So he's one of those directors where I'm kind of okay. I love all of your big stuff that you've done so far. Like I'll watch anything you do. I know that he was in talks to do a Nosferatu film.
Okay.
I think he still wants to, but he was like, that was supposed to be a second film, but he's kind of like, The Witch did well critically, but I'm sort of like, I thought that doing Nosferatu would be kind of ambitious for a sophomore project, so I decided to kind of put that on the back burner. I hope he does Nosferatu. I think it's great, a really dark, sort of gothic, modern gothic film. I think he would do great things with Nosferatu. So I hope he does that at some point. But either way, I'm a huge fan of his now. So
is he related to David Eggers?
I'm not sure actually.
I don't know. I mean, David Eggers is a writer and other things. He wrote the book for, not obviously Where the Wild Things Are, but like the novelization of it, which I actually didn't love because Where the Wild Things Are is one of my favorite all-time books, and it's a children's book. But, I have a fucking tattoo of it. It's why I got my nephew the book. So huge inspiration for me and part of my childhood. But he wrote the novel, which then Spike Jonze, I think, turned into a movie. Right. Which was fine. It was cool for what it is. It's hard to make a book that has like, I don't know how many words, a very small amount of words into a feature-length movie and novel. But and I know he's written a lot of other popular things, but I don't know, maybe it's just a name similarity. Okay, so what let's do some of the let's talk some of the heavy hitters, like because it's our first episode on horror. I'm totally down to talk subgenres, and I think still when most people think horror, we're stuck in and maybe rightfully so, in the late 70s and 80s slashers. I think that is still the gold standard for popcorn horror. Of course, we're talking things like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Friday the 13th,
Friday the 13th. Texas Chainsaw Massacre to a lesser extent, maybe.
Yeah.
That might be. So I'm gonna be honest here.
Yeah.
I watched those three, not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, those three last year.
Mhm.
I think I love practical effects. I might if you've read any of my reviews, I adore practical effects. That's why I love The Thing, which we can get into that too.
Oh yeah.
I thought of the three, my favorite was Friday the 13th. I thought it was the best one, which was surprising because I thought it would be Halloween. But Halloween is kind of considered it's fucking called Halloween.
Yeah.
It's considered like the pinnacle of horror, like slasher horror. And I thought wait, no. Excuse me. Nightmare on Elm Street was my favorite. I did not like Friday the 13th very much.
It's pretty tame by today's standards, and it's very cliche. Like there's
it's not. I don't know. Like, do you remember the final scene where like the mom's head gets knocked off or something?
Yeah.
It's like a joke.
No.
It's like so campy, no pun intended. And I just thought it was like I was kind of disappointed. Halloween, I thought it was going to be better, but it's a good movie, especially again, it's all about budget and when these things were made and all of that. I understand that. Friday, I think Halloween was the earliest of the three.
Yep.
Late 70s, maybe 78.
78, And Friday the 13th came out in 80, and then Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 84.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street I thought was the best one.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think for those three, or if you have any other contenders?
If we're just talking like slasher films right now.
Sure. The famous kind of the what people think when they think horror.
So speaking of
Slashers.
Friday the 13th, it's not my favorite series. I mean, like it'll always kind of have a soft spot in my heart. Like I bought the 8-box collection, DVD collection when I was like 15 or something.
Yeah.
They're not great movies, but they're entertaining. It's fun, like Friday night popcorn movies where you just want to hang out and watch a dumb movie with your friends, sort of thing. I think my favorite Friday the 13th film is one that people don't really talk much about, but it's Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. I recommend that one because it's goofier, but it's intentionally goofier. So at least it's campy, but like it's meant to have more of a tongue-in-cheek tone to it. And it's got Alice Cooper doing the soundtrack, so it's got some cool rockin' songs. It's got some pretty cool death scenes. So it's like, all right, like this is actually a really fun, campy slasher flick from the 80s. And I just love 80s, like the way, like the cinematography of 80s horror films. Like they used a lot of that blue light. Like as
smoke.
There's
smoke.
Like every scene is Jason standing in the forest with blue light and there's mist, and it's like, this is such a cool aesthetic. I love that aesthetic so much. But it's got an Alice Cooper soundtrack and it's got a pretty high death count. It's pretty funny deaths too. So I was like, all right, like this is pretty cool, rocking. I mean, it's not great cinema, but it's of the Friday the 13th films, I think that's my favorite. I think it's the funnest.
All right, Jason Voorhees is a great villain, and that's really the staying power of these movies are the villains, right? Like Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, and Jason Voorhees are they the three most recognizable villains in horror?
I guess Leatherface, and you have Ghostface from Scream.
Yes, and I want to get into Scream and more recent movies too. Fuck, you said something that I really wanted. I made like a mental note and I already forgot it. What you were talking about. But that's okay. So Scream, which is Scream was a huge part of my childhood. My friend had remember the famous Ghostface mask, but had the blood in it.
Oh yeah,
a knife with the blood. Like I think every group of friends had at least one friend who wore that for Halloween, and
it had the pump. So like
1997, 1998, or whatever it was. Scream played a huge role in my childhood, and getting into horror movies. I was kind of a little bitch when I was a kid. Like I was not into. I would get like legitimately frightened, which I still do actually to this day. But I love horror. I think. I was more of. I would try and like get people to put on something else, but basically I wasn't the one asking to put on the movie. I was held down and made to watch these movies. Let's just say. But now I love them, and Scream played a huge role in that. But at the same time, Scream was like, it was self-aware.
Yes.
Right. Like it literally was going over the rules of horror movies, which was fun at the time.
Yeah.
I do think it's great. I think it's a great movie. But to me, it almost takes a little bit out of the genre where it's self-aware.
Right.
Let's see. Trying to think if we're missing any other heavy hitters, and at least the slasher genre. Are there any like more modern slashers that we're missing? That are like really, I'm sure. I mean, there are, but that are really good.
Oh, that are good. Not really. There was one that I kind of liked. It wasn't great. It's called Hush.
Is that the one where the girl's deaf?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I watched that a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't amazing, but I did like how it used a deaf character to good effect. Where it like like it played with sound and silence in a pretty cool way. And like the average, like the plot of it was stereotypical. But like the way that they utilize sound and silence in it for suspenseful purposes, I thought that was pretty cool.
Totally unique. Yeah, I remember that. I should rewatch that because I watched that probably 2015, 16 when it came out. I think it was around that time, maybe. Before I was writing reviews. All right. Well, if any others come back to us, we can get into just whatever genre. So my favorite genre in the horror tent would be, it's a toss-up, but if I had to pick one, it's exorcism movies. I love exorcism movies. I'm actually watching one right now, as in I started it last night, going to finish it tonight. Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Which is pretty cool. Somehow it slipped. I made that note. I'm like, how'd this slip my radar? Because I'm an exorcism connoisseur.
It's also a legal movie too, right? Like
yes, which I did not know. Because it's legitimately a legal movie where it's very cool in its storytelling using the legal system and a trial, where that new Conjuring movie that came out a couple months ago. The Devil Made Me Do It. They advertised it like it was going to be like that, and it was not at all. Not a very good movie. At least I did not like it. I said you could skip this one. I'm not crazy about the Conjuring universe. I know it must have its fans because they make so many. Insidious was good, I think. Not my favorites, but in terms of Exorcism is the gold standard. It's one of the best, I think, movies, period.
I think, in fact, The Exorcist, the original Exorcist, I think is my all-time favorite horror film.
Unbelievable.
Like that movie, it hits pretty hard for a movie that came out in '73. And that doesn't mean that movies from the 70s or horror movies from the 70s are very tame. But there's sort of that thing where it's like when you watch a movie that people freaked out over, and you're like, it doesn't really hold up to today's standards. But when you watch The Exorcist, like it goes pretty far. Like it's pretty extreme. There are a lot of scenes that hit pretty hard.
The first time I saw the spider walk, I was like, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. That was so goddamn scary. Still is.
It's creepy.
It's an incredible movie from just a cinematic standpoint. I mean, the shot, I know we said this on Twitter, the shot where the exorcist himself like approaches the house and stops in the light and like the moonlight that's coming through the window is just that frame is one of my favorites in cinema.
It's such an iconic image. It was one of the it's one of the few horror movies to be nominated for so many Oscars. Like it was nominated for Best Director, Best Picture. I know one Best Adapted Screenplay because William Peter Blatty adapted from his own novel. Jason Miller got nominated for an Oscar. The girl, what's her name? Linda Blair. She got nominated for an Oscar. And
that's the girl. That's the little girl, right?
Yeah. And
then did she get really fucked up by that?
I heard. Yeah. So for the scene where the room gets really cold and they're all breathing. The air. So all she was wearing was a nightie. So Linda Blair's like, to this day, I can't stand the cold because of that movie. Like they put me on a refrigerated set for 12 hours a day.
I thought it fucked her up. I thought it fucked her up worse than that. I thought like she got like mental issues. Maybe not
that I know of.
Oh.
But I know that a lot of people got injured. So the actress, I can't remember her name.
Is it Ellen Burstyn?
Ellen Burstyn, later mom. So for the scene where Linda Blair slaps her mom and their mom goes flying across the room.
Yeah.
So she broke her coccyx. Like she broke like a part of her back. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And the director William Friedkin, he kind of punished his cast. Like it would not fly today. But he used to do this thing where he would hide guns, live guns, behind sets to scare the audience. Where it's like, okay, like when they're rehearsing, like I'm just gonna have a stuntman just shoot a gun behind the set, just to freak everybody out.
What the fuck? That is so insane.
There's another scene.
I thought you were gonna say like he pulled a Kubrick where he'd like make someone do 500 takes, not shoot off weapons.
No, shooting off weapons. The guy who plays Father Dyer in the film, he's the one who's friends with Damien, the Father Damien. But like in the scene where Damien, towards the end where he falls down the steps and he's dying, and then Father Dyer comes in and he's like, hey, do you repent and do you apologize for everything? So for that scene, he's like, his hand is shaking and he's crying, and he goes, the reason why is because William Friedkin was not satisfied with my performance. So he came to me and he said, I think he said, hey, do you trust me? And I said, sure. So then he slapped me across the face, and then he told the camera, okay, action. So he goes, so like I'm kind of like I'm on the verge of tears, man, and like a handshake because I'm so shocked that the director slapped me. So when you see him like freaking out, like it's because the director smacked him.
Yeah, it's like Shelley Duvall in The Shining, where when she's swinging the bat, Kubrick made her do that like I said, like 500 times or something. Maybe not that much, but she's actually like crying. I mean, I shouldn't laugh. It's abuse. Yeah, but I mean, they got the performance.
Right.
Now these, we hate Hollywood. We rip on them. We rip on these actors and stuff for their dumb nonsense, but these aren't the same ones. They probably wouldn't do this shit today. And look at the performances we used to get.
Oh yeah.
So maybe if you went through more self-harm and abuse, you'd win an Oscar.
If you have more shotguns pointed at your face,
that's crazy. I don't condone that. That's fucking crazy. Just firing off live ammunition.
Yeah.
Shoot.
I mean, it wasn't aimed at people. It was.
Did
just
someone die during The Exorcist? Like not an actor, but.
Not that I know of. I know that for Poltergeist, that movie was cursed, where it's like a whole bunch of people who were so.
I'm gonna keep perpetuating that someone died on The Exorcist because
there was a Munchkin died on the set of The Exorcist.
Yeah.
You heard of that urban legend that a Munchkin died while making The Wizard of Oz?
What's a Munchkin? Oh,
one of the little people.
Wizard of Oz. Yeah, the
Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
Did one die?
No. I don't think so. So that urban legend, it's not really horror related, but it's kind of a spooky urban legend. There's a shot in The Wizard of Oz where they're on the stupid yellow road or whatever, and in the background you see a figure like very far in the background, and it looks like they're hanging from like a tree in the background. And so some people, there's this urban legend perpetuated that like one of the actors who plays the Munchkin was so fed up with like their low pay that they hung themselves on the set of the film, and that you can see their bodies swing in the background.
Yeah, for the Disney World.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the recent high definition transfers of the film reveal that it's actually a peacock.
Fucking high def tech ruining.
I know, it's ruining all of our cool urban legends.
Yeah. All right. What
horror movies? Oh yeah, hey.
Oh yeah, horror movies. Right.
Another horror subgenre, sci-fi horror.
Oh,
you got any for that?
Alien?
Yeah, Alien's great.
Aliens.
Love that.
So Alien is great.
Yeah.
I think Aliens is an incredible movie.
It's such a good movie.
Not a horror movie.
Yeah.
Which very much an action movie, where Alien is a horror movie, but both fantastic. But yeah, we're talking horror, so Alien is excellent.
Yes.
One
of my favorite sci-fi horror films is Event Horizon. You ever seen that one?
I have not. No.
So it's got a pretty good cast. Sam Neill, Lawrence Fishburne, and a few other people who are pretty good actors. But that's pretty solid. I know that it kind of tanked when it came out. It came out like the late 90s, I think 97. It was directed by Paul Anderson, not Paul W.S. Anderson. Or no, I'm getting them mixed up because there's two Paul Andersons.
Right. Those
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
And then there's another Paul Anderson who directed like Mortal Kombat and the Resident Evil movies. Not a very good director, but he did a good job with this one. But Event Horizon is a really cool story. It's actually kind of Lovecraftian in a way.
This looks so freaky.
It's cool. It's a
holy
really cool
shit.
Movie.
Yeah, this looks
it's got a cult
crazy.
following now. So Sam Neill plays the scientist who develops the technology for. So it takes place in the future. Who developed a a way for spaceships to travel across long distances in a short amount of time. And basically, what it is he designed this sort of reactor that
I'm writing this down.
Yeah, check it out, man. It's a reactor on a ship that supplies its own black hole. So it's almost like so basically, instead of just like traveling from one spot to another, it's actually teleporting from one spot in space to another. And he goes, this is great for space exploration. So they had the maiden voyage. The ship was called the Event Horizon, and so everything was going great. Everything checked out. The crew.
Don't spoil it for me, because I'm gonna watch it.
No. I'm not getting to spoiler territory yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the ship, they're going on their maiden voyage. The ship that they created the black hole. They take off, and it disappears for several years. They don't know what happened to it. Then a few years later, it shows up again. So now Lawrence Fishburne takes Sam Neill, the designer of the original ship. All right, let's go check out the ship. And from there, I won't talk much about it. But it's crazy. It blends the supernatural and sci-fi in perfect ways. And so it's finding out where the ship went on its maiden voyage. There's only hints, but it's really cool. It's really creepy. There's a little bit of Hellraiser, a little bit of Lovecraft. It's pretty wild. It's pretty awesome.
I need to look up. I'm blanking on sci-fi horror, so I'm just gonna do a quick.
The Thing.
So here's, okay, perfect example. Thing is incredible.
Yes.
I mean, we can sing its praises if you'd like, because I mean, it's probably the best practical effects used ever.
Yeah.
At least in horror.
Yeah.
And
I think it's also my favorite John Carpenter film. I like a lot of John Carpenter films, but I think it's my favorite of his. It's one of my. Like I watched it not too long ago. I watched it like a dozen times, but I watched it like a year or so ago when I was really starting to get into like filmmaking, and I was like, man, this is a really tightly made film. Like it's very efficient. There's no scene that feels unnecessary. Like it's got a great pacing to it. The suspense is great. The tension is great. It's a really well directed film.
It's fantastic. I agree with all of that. Again, so what brings people in is the body. That's like definition body horror.
Oh yeah.
But it's also like very psychologically disturbing.
Yes.
You have this, like most, not most, but like a lot of horror movies, you have like the isolated location. So here you have a science crew, whatever, in Antarctica, isolated really from the outside world. And
here's where they justify it, because a lot of movies where they're trapped someplace, it often feels forced, where it's like, okay, like you're in a haunted house, to get out of the house, sort of thing. Where it's like, why are you still there? But here it's like, there's a storm, so they're basically trapped. And I know that Tarantino, I believe he said that he was inspired a little bit by The Thing when he made The Hateful Eight, of just having like characters trapped, in an isolated place, and then just having like all the tension and suspense dealing with that. Yeah.
Is the guy who Bottin? Is that how you pronounce it?
Rob Bottin. Yeah, it looks like Jesus.
Is it Bottin? Yeah, he is phenomenal. What else? We should do a whole episode on him, to be honest. He did
Total Recall.
Yeah, the melting guy.
Yeah, he did. RoboCop. He designed the suit for
RoboCop.
that.
Yes, that's RoboCop. And Paul Verhoeven, who, if I brought up before, Starship Troopers are my favorite all-time movies. Probably that and Monty Python the Holy Grail have the two biggest impacts on my adolescence.
Yeah, interesting.
Very, very different movies, of course. Yeah. Rob Bottin. He
also did the effects for Seven.
Okay, he did Seven. Yeah. What's in the box?
Yeah.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box? What's in the box? What? Hold on. I just had because. Oh, have you seen Sputnik?
No. What is that? So
it's like the way it people are saying it's Russia's Alien, so it's a Russian movie. But it's a very similar type creature that feeds on but it's kind of like that. It's like a psychological type horror thing too, where they're trying to figure out this creature that it's not like Alien in the sense that it's like picking off people one by one necessarily. I think it's more of a commentary on like we would have here in American movies, like commentary on militarism and stuff like that.
Okay.
but it's definitely worth watching.
Okay.
It's a good movie. I'm just looking at sci-fi horror here. Do you consider Quiet Place sci-fi?
I mean, they're aliens, right?
Predator, is that sci-fi? I
Yeah,
guess.
the aliens, yeah.
I like A Quiet Place a lot. I thought the first one more so than the second one.
Yeah, but I thought both of them overall were pretty good.
Yeah. What?
Oh, okay. Another subgenre.
Yeah, let's do it.
Folk horror.
Folk horror. Okay.
So like
Go for it.
Midsommar.
Oh my God, I have a fucking Midsommar poster in my TV room.
That's a damn good movie.
Adore that movie.
Yeah, that movie's great.
Daylight horror is awesome. I thought Midsommar it far exceeded my expectations. I thought most people don't agree with this statement. I think it's better than Hereditary. And I'm comparing them because they're both. Is it Ari Aster?
Ari Aster, yeah. He along with Robert Eggers are like these filmmakers who are just like, okay, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're doing a romantic comedy. I'm gonna watch whatever you do. Like,
are they both? Did A24 produce both of those?
They produce all four of those. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. A24 does.
A24 is great. Like, I would love that to make films released by them. A24 is great. Like they do a great line of at least most of their films, kind of straddling the line between like artsy and accessible, where it's like, okay, like this, it's accessible to mainstream audiences, but it's pushing the boundaries.
Well, they're still cinematic. Like Midsommar is a very cinematic movie with whether it's the kind of that like turnover shot where it's hard to explain, but it kind of like starts in a normal shot, and like kind of flips over.
Yeah.
The colors of it, it's like a visually beautiful movie.
Oh yeah.
I wrote in my review of Midsommar, I remember I gave Midsommar like a 95. I love that's very, very high for what I give. And I love how they use the Tchaikovsky or Chekhov's. No, that's Chekhov's gun. The rule for Chekhov's gun, if you're gonna, show a gun, you have to use the gun. And they do that for the big fuck off hammer that the guy has. It's like that guy standing there with that big hammer, and the first time he doesn't get to use it really. And it's like, is he gonna use that? And of course he uses it because Chekhov gun's principle.
Right. I think I enjoyed Hereditary more, but I think Midsommar is a better made film. Like I thought Ari Aster matured as a filmmaker between Hereditary and Midsommar, and I thought there are some things where it's like, holy shit, like this is a real director. He's actually using image and sound to perfect cinematic use. I think they're both great though. They're both really awesome.
They're both great. I don't know why I liked. If I watched them both again, maybe I would like Hereditary. I don't know. Midsommar just like stuck with me. Like that's very telling to me when I'm thinking about a movie like days later.
Yeah.
I did that recently with The Hunt. I know we talked about that. Just really great movies stick with you. Like you just catch yourself thinking about them.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And maybe that didn't happen with Hereditary. And usually I write the review within a few days, and I usually give a range.
Yeah.
Like this movie's between an 85 and an 88, and then like I mull on it for a couple days and then I write it or whatever. So Midsommar, I loved. It had like that pick off principle that happens in a lot of movies, but it still felt different, where they're kind of picking off the friend group one by one. The use of like the group, the Swedes, women, when they're like breathing with her. And it's that we talk about that kind of empathy. It's like this collective empathy, and it's shown in such a unique way there, where they're literally matching her breathing to show that like you're not alone, you're one of us. It's like it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like that.
And I love how Ari Aster gave himself a challenge, and he stuck the landing, which is like, I'm gonna make a daylight horror film where it's like none of it takes place at night. Or at least most of it doesn't take place at night. I think the whole thing takes place during the day.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even during the day. It's because doesn't the sun not really set? Like, isn't that the point?
Yeah.
Like, there's very little darkness.
Right.
I think if I remember correctly.
But I still love how he managed to be unsettling and disturbing even in such a beautiful setting. I mean, just the production design and the costumes. It looks like a beautiful film. It looks like I'd love to go there for summer sometime. Like, but it's not
I want to get my ticket. No, I have a minimalist poster of Midsummer, and I only have 2 movie. I want to have movie posters throughout the whole room, and I only have 2 right now because I'm being very persnickety about it. But I only have a Clockwork Orange, and I also want to find posters I really like, not just movies I like, but posters I like. Clockwork, and I'm going for like a minimalist theme. Clockwork Orange and Midsummer right now.
There's a great sequence near the beginning of Midsommar that I love. It was the scene where like the cops are going through the house where the main character's sister killed the parents and then killed herself. Like it starts off with like a solo violin, and then it starts building up more and more strings. And you're going through the house, like the slow camera, just the tonal shift of because that was shot in the winter, and it's all like these very cold blues, and the way that contrasts so much with like the more sunny aspect of the film. But just that sequence, there's no dialogue. It's just like first responders going to the house, and then you see like the hoses from the car's exhaust, and it winds through the house, and it goes into the parents' room, and it goes into the girl's mouth.
It is such a disturbing visual too, because it's not like, what's so disturbing about that is it's not someone getting their entrails removed, right? It's not someone getting even their head cut off. It's something that is like very simple. It'd be very simple to do, that people kill themselves like that all the time. Maybe not with the hose exactly, but like car exhaust. And it's just like such a creepy, and the way that she obviously killed her parents, they weren't part of it wasn't a mass suicide. I don't know. I thought the whole movie was really well done. I know another subgenre we can talk about if you.
Real quick, I just want to talk about another folk horror film.
Folk horror. Okay.
There's one more I want to talk about. It's came out in the last couple of years. It's called Apostle. It's on Netflix.
I have that on my list.
That's a really good one. I heard mixed things about it. People were saying that it was longer, they kind of dragged in more places than it's a solid 2 hours, but I loved it. So the basic plot of it, without giving too much away, is about this guy whose sister has been kidnapped by a cult. Kind of like a Christian / pagan cult and they reside on this island somewhere in Wales, I believe. And so he's been sent there to go find his sister, and to rescue her from this religious sect. And it just gets weirder and weirder from there. But I love how the supernatural elements kind of like the director does a great job of slowly planting the seeds for it, where it's not straight up like, oh, it's a satanic cult. It's more like, it's like at first they just seem kind of like a weird sort of Judeo-Christian offshoot. But then it starts peeling back, and you're like, oh, okay, there's more to this religion than I expected. Again, I won't say too much, but I thought that I was into it the whole 2 hours. I didn't think that there were any scenes that felt like they dragged on or they felt unnecessary. The acting overall is pretty solid. I love the setting. They shot on location on some place in Wales, so it's really cool and isolated. Where it's beautiful but also haunting. The location that they shot at, and it's got some pretty creepy and weird. It goes into some surprisingly weird places that I appreciated. If I were to nitpick it, I don't think it went far enough. I would have gone weirder, but I like the fact that it was kind of touching on some things that you don't see too often in horror films. I'd give it like a solid 8 out of 10. It's definitely an above average horror film.
I do have that on my watch list because I'm attracted to like any type of religious movie. Like that's why I like exorcism movies so much. I mean, to me, exorcism movies generally are it's the epitome of good and evil, like two extremes, faith versus the devil and all of that fun stuff. Of course, there's sometimes twists in there. I thought a fun twist with one was I can't remember the name of it, but it had Modest Yahoo in it. And it was different because it was kind of a Jewish version. Like it wasn't, the vast majority of these movies are Catholic priests, but this, it was who's the guy in Walking Dead who was like one of the new villains? Do you watch Walking Dead? I mean, I haven't in years. Oh man, I can't remember his name. And
are you talking about that one with Gary Oldman as a rabbi?
no, it's definitely not Gary Oldman. Anyway, fuck. Let me see. Well, basically, I can't remember who it is, but it's because it's not exact. It's not necessarily. It's not like the devil. It's more of like a demon thing that came from a box, and it is in Jewish lore, I guess, in Jewish folklore in the Talmud. I don't know exactly. I shouldn't say that, but it was cool because it was different than the typical. Because even I noticed, even in movies like, which I'm all for, but even in movies like, what was like that found footage movie, the black and white one that they made like 10 of.
Paranormal Activity,
right? Even in that, where like the family's Jewish, he gets a crucifix and starts blessing the house and stuff, because it's always like Catholic or Christian versus the devil. But this was different. This was cool because it was a little different. It was like they went and they found the Jewish version of that. And then, of course, so it's so funny to me. They're like, first of all, this one that could have been a movie, but I'm saying something different. They live in like Virginia or North Carolina, and it's like, oh, we have to find a Jew. They go all the way to Brooklyn. Like, there are none down there. and they find Matisyahu, who you know who that is, right?
No, I don't think so.
You know who Matisyahu is? Dude, he was a Hasidic rapper. He was I don't think he's Hasidic anymore, but he was like this. He did King Without a Crown. Great song. It's like reggae, but he's either Hasidic or Orthodox.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
I've definitely seen him.
Yeah. Well, he's in the movie. You don't really know. Yeah. It's very funny. It's like, oh, we need a Jew. Let's go to Brooklyn. That's so funny. But anyway, okay. So yeah, folk horror. I have Wicker Man, the original, not the Nick Cage one. Who I love Nick Cage to death, but
me too. Yeah,
I have on there. That's kind of like folk daylight horror.
We should do an episode dedicated to like the worst horror films we've ever seen.
Sure. Yeah, we could definitely do that too.
Because I have a lot of strong opinions about that.
Well, that's the thing. Horror is so. Well, one, it's a money maker. I'm kind of going to start like this, like. Horror movies and of course the Blumhouse has I say exploited this, not in a derogatory way, but they understand this concept that you can make very inexpensive horror movies and make a ton of money off of them because it's a big date movie. Teenagers will go just to go see a movie even still, and it's fun. Like they're just fun movies. They're not always the best. I was not a big fan of, I think Freaky was Blumhouse. Yeah,
that's the one with
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. Yeah, that's a sort of horror comedy remake.
Yeah, horror comedy. They did like Happy Death Day, which was actually filmed like not far from where I lived in New Orleans, which is pretty cool. Basically, they make like horror movies can be inexpensive and make money, which is cool.
Yeah.
And so where I was going with this is that for me, it's like there's just so much bad horror out there.
Oh yeah,
like there's so much bad horror, and it's almost okay because when you find a good one, they're so good.
Yeah.
I also think, and we can finish up sooner, and we're gonna do horror more. I definitely think we should talk about international horror, especially. We could do Japanese and Korean. I think Koreans are making great horror movies right now. I think I brought up before. Ganjam Haunted Asylum, awesome horror movie. And I also and that ties into another category I want to bring up, which was found footage. Because found footage has turned into its own thing. Of course, started really with Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
And
there was another film that came up before that, a found footage horror film.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was not a big hit when it came out, but it did come out before the Blair Witch Project. And the filmmakers behind Blair Witch said that film was influential. I can't remember what it was called. I remember seeing it. It was kind of a cool movie. But it was about the Jersey Devil.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
it's pretty cool because it was like a fake documentary interspersed with like found footage stuff.
Sure.
It was all fabricated, but they were kind of doing the Blair Witch thing of like let's take an urban legend and let's treat it like it's real. Like let's make it seem like the stuff is really happening, sort of thing. I remember thinking it wasn't great, but it was pretty cool. It like in terms of being like a sort of proto found footage fake documentary horror film. It was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like for the first one to really do that, as far as I know.
Oh
it's
yeah, I
pretty cool.
definitely want to see that. I mean, they're trailblazers if they really were the first. I think most people consider Blair Witch Project to be the first. So
yeah, God, I'm gonna see if I can look that up real
and I'm
quick.
down for anything Jersey Devil. I live in, not far from Jersey Devil territory.
Yeah,
I'm probably not even 20 miles from Pine Barrens.
God, what was it called? Now this is really bugging me.
Well, when you're looking for that, I'll just talk about other found footage. Yeah, so we can found footage. Wreck, which ties into another. So it's obviously there's a lot of genre blending because like I also, when I said there's a toss up between two subgenres, Exorcism was one. The other was zombie. I love zombie movies.
Okay.
I'm a huge zombie movie fan. I know that people kind of got zombied out. I was into it before it became mainstream, really. I thought Dawn of the Dead, the 2004 version, again had a huge impact on my I don't know, adolescence. It was like 14 years old. I feel like it's a big, what happens to you at 14, especially culturally, I think has a big impact on your interests. And Dawn of the Dead was huge in that regard. I thought it was like, then obviously made Shaun of the Dead and they made all these zombie movies, but I think that's the best one. I don't know if because I guess they are, zombie people argue like, well, zombies really that coming out of the graves dead, like these are more infected people, whatever, fine. I don't, it's all the same. 28 days later also completely that, they made that like rage zombie type thing. Trailblazing there, and that movie was again very low budget, but
honestly, like the whole fast moving zombie thing, the first time I ever saw, or at least the earliest movie that I've seen with fast zombies, was in Return of the Living Dead, which came out in 1985.
Really?
The zombies in that one move pretty quickly. I mean, they're not quite the hyper turbocharged ones that you see like 28 days later, but like you see them running and pouncing on people. They're not the sort of George A. Romero slow moving.
Really?
But that's a fun party zombie movie. Like it's more of a comedy sort of thing. Again, like a cheesy 80s flick, but like it's one that's really fun to watch with like pizza and beer on a Friday night sort of thing.
That sounds sweet.
It's a pretty cool one. And it actually it's kind of like a weird meta thing because it's sort of like a faux sequel to George A. Romero's original 1968 Night of the Living Dead.
It's not Romero.
It's not him, but it's sort of like it's like a weird referential sequel to it because there's a scene in the movie where they're talking about Night of the Living Dead like as if it was a real movie. So like it's a movie within the movie. So like, oh hey, so you know that movie Night of the Living Dead, like from '68?
Yeah.
They're talking about it, but they're like, hey, did you know that it was actually based on a true story? And that the bodies left over from that whole incident, they're actually buried next door, sort of thing. So it's sort of like a weird, it blends sequel / meta commentary. It's kind of a weird thing. But yeah. Oh, by the way, I found the Jersey Devil movie. It's called The Last Broadcast. The Last Broadcast.
I have that. I have that on my list already.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. No, you know what? I have that. So I have like a list of movies on my phone that I just can't find. Like I always go and I try and check, and sometimes they appear. It'll be really annoying. Like I'll do it 9 times. I'll say, the last broadcast, and it doesn't come up. I search for it, doesn't come up, and then like the 10th time it'll come up. Like maybe some streaming service got. I have that on my phone. I don't remember. I didn't remember what it was for.
Yeah,
but I put it on there because it must have interested me, and that's why. Because it's about the Jersey Devil. Very cool.
Yeah, right, came out 1 year before Blair Witch, so check it out. It's been a while since I've seen it. I don't know if it's as good as I remember, but it's worth checking out to sort of see like the roots of found footage horror.
Sounds good. Yeah, we can go. Yeah, we could definitely go into found footage. I think we should go into like found footage zombie. We could do like campy. I love the Evil Dead movies.
I
don't love the third one actually, but the first 2 I thought are great. I mean
so,
the original.
The third one.
Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. I'm kind of mad at Sam Raimi about it. Not specifically about the movie. I enjoy the movie. It's fun, but it's not as horror oriented as the first two. But the reason why I'm pissed at Sam Raimi about that is because he didn't call it. It's because he called it Army of Darkness. He should have called it The Medieval Dead. Like it was such like the most obvious fucking thing. He didn't do it.
Yeah, he had such a pun there, and he didn't do it. That's true. The Medieval Dead. Damn. Did you just make that up, or have you?
No. I've been mulling over this and fuming over this for years. I'm like, why did he call it Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn, and then Army of Darkness?
You meet God. It's like, what questions do you have for me, my son? Like, do you want to know the answer to the universe, the reason for living? It's like, why did Sam Raimi name it the Medieval Dead?
Yeah, exactly.
He just totally spaced, my son. Yeah, it's good. Evil Dead. I like Army of Darkness for, its handful of. I actually do want to get, I think, an Evil Dead poster. I really like the Hail to the King Baby line. That's great. Yeah. I have, speaking of which, I have you've seen my patches here and here. I have a Ash patch on my back.
Okay, cool.
What I've said, when I wrote the review for Evil Dead, his groovy line. Yeah. He's like, groovy.
Yeah.
Like the single is the best single word line in cinematic history.
Yeah.
You can argue with that's fine. I can't think of any others, but it is so fucking good. Yeah. I just sometimes I just go on YouTube and just like groovy line Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I just watch it. That few second clip.
Sam Raimi he's got a pretty distinctive directorial style. And it's funny is that like it still carries over into some of his more recent films. So I was watching some scenes from Spider-Man 2. You've seen Spider-Man 2, right?
Yeah, Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, Dr. Octopus. So the surgery scene where they're getting ready to cut off the metal tentacle things from him.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up and then he kills all the doctors. It's got such an Evil Dead vibe. Like it just for that brief scene, it turns into a horror movie, and it's straight up like Evil Dead horror. So it's a lot of like quick zooms, a lot of quick cuts, a lot of like it's very reminiscent of like Ash, building like a chainsaw thing or arming himself. Like there's that sort of quick paced, fast zooming thing.
So good. That's my favorite when he's arming himself, putting the chainsaw. That whole montage of getting ready to kick some Evil Dead ass. Yeah, and then obviously the groovy line. Hail to the King Baby is fantastic.
I think the first Evil Dead is probably one of my favorite. It's definitely one of my favorite horror movie posters. It's the one where there's a woman, she's in the ground and she's trying to get up, and then there's like a hand that's trying to pull her in. Like it's such a cool poster.
It's classic camp horror, low budget. Yeah. It's fantastic. I of course, I have brought up before on the podcast. I love the gif of like the hand reaching out the cellar, like join us. Like, that one, someone's like, maybe this woke shit is kind of crazy or something. Like join us. Maybe I don't like the political parties. Or like, join us down in the cellar. You piece of shit. You come down here where you belong. The rest of us. We could go on, but we want to save some stuff for another episode, right?
Yeah. I think this is
good. We have some more specifics. We were kind of just shooting from the hip, like, what about this? Oh, that one's good. What about this? Yeah, so we have a few we could really detail on. I'd love to get into more of Boutine. Now they know it rhymes with Poutine. Now they know to say his name. I would definitely do more found footage stuff. Zombie stuff. Crossovers Wreck. I don't know if you've seen the Spanish movie Wreck.
I've never seen that.
You haven't seen Wreck? Oh my god! No. So have you seen Quarantine?
I think so. That's the one where they're all in a building and then like it's like a zombie thing, or like some kind of like infectious zombie movies.
Yeah, zombie, and they get locked in. I think in Quarantine it's L.A., but in Wreck it's Barcelona. And it's
okay, that's right.
They quarantine the building.
REC.
Yeah, Wreck. REC. Like
I know. I saw it, really, but I've heard it's great though.
Really, I would go watch that like. As soon as possible. Excellent. They've made 3, I think. I don't know. I saw one with like a wedding. I don't remember what that was. Yeah. But Rec 1 is awesome.
I just want to bring up real quick, just kind of finish off the found footage thing. I watched one last weekend. It's just called Area 51, and it was written and directed by Oren Peli. who directed the first Paranormal Activity film.
Okay.
Area 51 is pretty bad. It's not a very good movie at all. But the reason why I watched it is because I've always had a fondness for conspiracy theory movies. Like, I don't know, just the paranoia of like, there's some kind of shady government thing going on. Even if it's a bad movie, I've always loved that sort of thing. And I do have in the back burner a horror / conspiracy theory film. I know it's kind of a weird crossover thing, but
what do you mean?
Yeah, a script that I'm writing. Yeah, that kind of blends conspiracy theory, thriller, and horror. But it was a pretty stupid movie. But I did like the paranoid aspects, like the whole conspiracy theory, the government is hiding stuff. It was a very good reminder of why so many found footage, not all, but so many found footage horror films don't work for me. And that is because even though it's meant to look raw, it's meant to look, amateur, so many of the scares are so forced where it's like, okay, like I understand that there's a character, the premise is that there's a character carrying a camera and they're running from something. And because of that, you're only to catch brief glimpses of the monster.
Yeah.
And I understand that and typically the less you show the monster, the more scary it is. But when it's done in a found footage film, and because it's so prevalent in found footage horror films, it becomes sort of like, okay, I get it. Like, you're going to show us like a brief, shaky image of it, and then you look away because it's found footage. I get it. It does that so many times. It's sort of like, come on, like, do something more interesting with found footage.
Okay, so this will be the last thing I say, but that's a good segue into the movie I brought up already, Ganjam, Haunted Asylum, because it is kind of different. It sounds, if I just told you the premise, it would be, okay, another one of these, a bunch of like young people, 20-something-year-olds, go into a asylum that's closed down and it's apparently haunted, and they go to do it for like views on their website, right? Very basic, been done. But one, it's very scary, really well done. And it's also, because it's more recent, where other movies, like you were saying, it is just like Wreck and Blair Witch and Area 51, whatever. It's like just one guy with a camera, right? It's like, well, if you're really that fucking scared, wouldn't you just like drop the camera and run away? Like, what are you doing? But here it's like the cameras, one, it's Korea, so they have really good technology, and it's more recent. So it's like the whole group is wearing cameras. And then there's a guy in like a tent outside who's like streaming everything. So you're getting different views of everyone. And sometimes the cameras are facing them, sometimes they're not. So it adds like that whole really fucking scary scene. I'm not gonna lie, it is extremely frightening. With one of the cameras facing the girl and something like, woof. This movie was recommended to me for someone who specifically likes Korean movies, and it does not disappoint.
Let's give each other recommendations then. I'll watch that one. Text me the name, because I wouldn't know how to look that up. But
I'll text it to you right after this.
That'd be cool. And we'll give each other a few recommendations, and we'll chat about them on the episode.
Sounds good.
All right, everyone.
Wrap
I
up?
think that's good. Yeah.
All right.
So stay reckless, Ben.
Stay reckless, Joe.
Yeah, and tune in for the next few episodes. We'll be talking about horror stuff for the Halloween month of October. And all right, bye, everybody.
Take it easy.